Check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Guys.
Hold on a second. Just lost your audio. Give me 1 second, Coach. A lot of production stuff going on over here. All right, go ahead, Coach. Give me an audio test now.
Check, check.
Perfect.
Okay. I can hear you loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Welcome, everyone, to At the Buzzer, a market recap. If this is your first time here, I am Coach Jay. That is Coach Paul. The goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that we have not traded before, but our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep Performance Coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been in Top Step for a year and a half also as a performance coach. I'm also a 4-decade veteran of the futures industry. I'm here to share my experiences and hopefully assist you into becoming a successful trader.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Coach. Uh, let's get into the charts. It has been a week. It has been a very long week. So let us know in the chat how your week went. Were you up on the week, down on the week? Much that you've learned from this week at all? We say it all the time that we're going to get out of here early. I think we're actually going to do it today. Uh, it's been a marathon, I think, for all of us. But let us know how you've done, and we will go through the market. So we had some news come out earlier today. We had the PCE print come out, 2.4%. What was forecast was 2.5%. We also had a consumer spending number come out and University of Michigan sentiment. All of these coming in lower than expectations. But I think it was all undone by our Fed speaker, who was not on the calendar, but thrown out there to give some confidence to the markets, Fed Goolsby. Uh, and the markets kind of rallied from there. Anything you got on the news, Coach, before we get into the markets?
Well, one bigger underlying factor is it's triple witching Friday. End of the year, end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the world as we know it. I think that had a lot to do with that violent move. Um, so, on top of that, very volatile day. Whatever, and there were some news events, but also triple witching. So, um, interesting in the S&P, the 30-minute average true range.
Just real quick, what is triple witching for those that might not know?
Oh, that's when futures expire, ETFs expire, and options. Um, all those combined, it's an expiration where the books have to be made good, especially especially options. It can create havoc, um, which you saw from being. What was the range today? We'll start with the S&P. Today's range in the S&P was 184.7 for, let's say, 185 handles.
Yeah.
The average true range coming into today was 54. Beginning of the week, it was at 40.
Volatility
How
is
about, I don't know,
increasing.
it's exploding, right?
Mhm.
So without getting into the technicals, gamma on option expiration is insane. What looks like it was out of the money can soon be in the money. Then there has to be volume on the future side or the ETF side, and it's thin and it exacerbates the short term on top of the big move we had at the beginning of the week. So that's what a triple witching hour. What happens if there's underlying volatility? It can be exacerbated in a hurry. So we
Makes a ton of
witnessed
sense.
that. I'm still kind of stunned at some of the ranges. We just 185 points in the S&P, 800 in the Nasdaq after a
These are some of the biggest days
thousand.
we've seen all year.
Yeah. So we're coming what? To me, this is the last. This really is the last trading week of the year, with Christmas and New Year's, and shortened weeks, um, and triple. That's triple witching hour came. It was like a witch's brew of volatility. No insult to witches. There's good witches. I don't want any spells on me, but um, yeah, and we witnessed it. So let's go through. Let's start.
Through let's go. I do want to go through the quote board. Because what is interesting about this, if you rewatch, at the buzzer on Wednesday, we talked about, there being 5 items on this quote board to the green side, right? To the upside, everything else was red. We almost completely reversed that today, where we have 5 items, and I wonder, I'm gonna go back and check to see whether they were the same 5 markets um, that were, green on Wednesday, red today. But this is just, you know, kind of sticks out here. To the downside, we had the Nikkei down 0.5%, micro Bitcoin futures down 0.65, and soybean oil down 1.24. To the upside, we had, shout out to Coach Hoop, hogs up 2.78%, soybean meal up 3.75, and nat gas, we placed the bet on it. Nat gas, number one biggest percentage mover to the upside, 4.72%. Again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only. But we did talk about nat gas going to be one of the top percentage movers. I actually think I said number one in one spot, either upside or downside. I did take a nat gas short today, um, where it looked like it was pretty heavy early on, but it does it again. It's I don't know
It's
how.
on a rocket.
Yeah,
It's
but
interesting. You would talk percentage gainers or volatility, and it's just as the S&P and the Nasdaq. It's just another day in the Nasdaq. I mean, in the natural gas.
business as usual in nat gas. To talk about our big four, we have gold, biggest percentage mover in the big four, up 1.29%. We have the S&Ps up 1.06%, Nasdaq up 0.8%. We don't usually see the S&Ps with a bigger percentage move than the Nasdaq, um,
Oh,
but it did it today. And then crude oil, being crude oil, stuck in that range, 0.13%. Coach, we are at Friday, end of the week. I'm gonna pull up a Nasdaq chart and a weekly chart. What are we seeing here?
the week that was. It's interesting. When we do this at the end of the week, it's been a selling week, but still, does that look bearish to you?
No, nope, not at all.
No. Um, with the wick, um, all-time highs, volatility, end of the year, but still very bullish. Can that change? Yes. Um, this week's lows will be very important next week. So weekly is just another week.
Another week, still looks bullish. Made new all-time highs this week, which sounds crazy. When did we make that all-time high? Was that Monday? Was that to open the week?
Was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Monday. It was Monday. Pretty much on the open, we made a new all-time high and have been selling off since then. Nice little relief rally. I've been talking a lot this week. Nice relief
Yeah,
rally here
yeah,
off that
you are
50-day
the
moving
face
average.
of Topstep TV, coach.
Nice relief rally here off of that 50-day moving average. And we almost got to the 50% of Wednesday's sell off. I know we've been talking about that as a potential target on a bounce here. Um, that 21,849, but still heavy. And again, this price action reminds me a lot of July.
July.
Even the 2 days following that sell off, right? We had the 2 days following the sell off. We tested up towards 50% and continued. So again, I'm not calling the rally over, but if we don't see some buyers step in here and gain some traction, uh,
Well, coach, this is why we go through weekly, daily, hourly. This a little now. This tells a little different story. because most of that week's action happened when,
Wednesday, middle
and
of the week.
most of that Wednesday's action happened in the last 2 hours, literally. So when we said that took out how many days? Like 8 days, 9 days.
Weeks of price action, pretty much.
Yeah. So that's still, um, we're still above the 50 next week, with a shortened week, and I don't see, you know, first of all, market makers are going to pare down. That's probably what's happening even now. Like, who's if you made big money this, were you going to put it all on the line just before Christmas? So that's another factor in the volatility.
Percent. Anything else on the equities, coach? I'll pull up a daily
Let's
S&P
look
chart
at
real quick.
the S&P.
Here's
Yeah,
a daily on the
lioness
S&Ps.
lane. Today's volume is pretty big. Is also another reason why triple witching hour can be so brutal, because those expiring options and in ETFs and futures have to get balanced out some way. So good point. All right. Oh, it's a different story, isn't it?
This is a daily, but we can go out to a weekly. Give me 1 second here. If I can figure out why this drawing tool keeps like
On
stuck for some
drawing.
reason. Yeah, yeah, it just keeps drawing. I just keep clicking and there's lines everywhere. But let's go out to a weekly. Here's a weekly on the S&Ps.
Weekly went to the 20-day moving average, almost to the tick, wicked out down there. Today I mean, could this be a top? Let's look at July's action. When we mentioned July, is there any
July,
similarities?
week in July here. There's no
Yeah,
wick on the bottom in July.
yeah. So, um, still a solid chart. Um, I think you said it. It's there's always buyers in stocks.
100%. 100%. They're looking for discounts, and that was a discount, right? We haven't seen a move like that to the downside. We haven't seen many of them all year. And, when you zoom out and you think about the prices you may be able to buy here in December, 6 months from now, a year from now, right? We heard Andre say he called his brother and said, "Hey, I want to buy some here, right? I'm getting out of fixed income. I want to buy some of the S&Ps on a drop." Are you buying near all-time highs? Potentially, but when we're talking about, the ES being at 8,000 next year or wherever it's going to be, this is where investors are going to want to put their money in. So, um, you know, we don't get quick corrections like that often, and there are opportunities to buy. Right, same sentiment. If you thought about July, where you see somewhat of a sell off, and maybe you would have bought it early, but if you bought anywhere in that July weekly candle and just held on to it, if you're a longer term investor, that position is in the profit, right? So, like you said, coach, there's always money waiting on the sidelines. We saw the headline, Bank of America, $7 billion that they found in investor money to put into the markets. These things just keep
They
going
just
up.
found it.
Yeah, they just found
Oh,
it,
look at
found it under
this.
under under a couch cushion. Look at this, 7 billion.
Yeah,
Let's see what we can do with this. Um, but
like
I,
that
I
poor
do.
guy with his Bitcoin in his computer.
Right.
Oh,
I'm
look at
sure he
that.
wishes he could find that. I do want to talk a
Uh,
little bit about in the S&Ps. We talked about it during, the daytime show, but 60/40. 60/40, if you guys remember, 60/40 was the price in the S&Ps, and shout out to JD in the chat that kind of brought this up and reminded me of it. On the way down on Wednesday, we saw a bid at 60/40 for 2,500 contracts. Did get filled. And then while we were, switching over the show today, Andre and I got on. We were talking about this 60/40 one as a target for these longs. I got in a long in the S&Ps somewhere down there, 59.18, got stopped out before the move. Um, did I think this full move was going to happen? Probably not. But the closer you get to that 60/40, once we got above 6,000, I think I said in my mind 60-40 is the target. Right? We probably should have just bought one and let it get there. But that 60-40, where that order got filled, and we can see didn't tap the markets. We did have another order out there at 60-47. What's that white line up there though, coach?
It starts with two and has two zeros following it. The 200 m- simple moving average.
200 simple moving average on the 30-minute chart, high of the day pretty much, to the tick in the S&Ps, right around that 60-40 area also.
Double top too.
Yep, double top there. When we got back about below that 60-40, you know, kind of where the resistance was in it. I'm gonna keep watching that level. Gonna keep watching that level. Obviously, the 200 moving. Can you please stop doing that? Obviously, the 200 moving average is there, uh, but that 60-40 area I think is going to be important, kind of going in through the rest of the year. Again, talking about longer term money potentially in the markets. We don't know what the intentions of that market participant are, but they saw that price and said, "Hey, I want to trade a ton of size here." So interesting to watch. Anything else on the S&Ps, coach?
Um, Interesting. After we hit that 200 on the half hour, we went right to VWAP. Um, that's all I have. That one of the
Awesome.
things too, when it hit that, it was what it was so far away from VWAP, right? That
Right.
I actually put a stop under the low the first time the half hour bar, I think it was 30, and said, well, if it fails up here, it's got a really good chance to get the VWAP, and it did. So fail. There was that's where it ended. I don't know what's going to end there, but I do know I can tag a failure, which it shouldn't. All the way up, it held the previous half hour's low. So very it was a nice trade.
We got a just a quick one from Scott Vaughn. I think we're going to do a couple more markets and then probably get out of here. But Scott, let's answer
Yep.
this question here. He said, can we look at an exponential moving average in and a simple moving average to maybe see the difference? So let's see here. Let's see. We're gonna make the. You already got purple there. What color don't we have? Green. All right.
Wow.
Just looking at the 200, the green one is exponential. The white one is simple. There's your difference.
Um, yeah, I've went back and test when I did my back testing. I used uh, just I ran a lot of data. The simple one worked better for me.
And we can kind of see that here, right? Where, if you're looking at what would be the resistance, there's a different 20 points between the two. And are we just cherry picking an example here? Could we go back and find a time where the exponential was the case for it potentially? But I think whatever you use, keep it consistent, right? Switching between the two and then trying to extract the same information, um, is there's a lot of variance there in your trade ideas. So keep it simple, but keep it simple. Uh,
Yeah, keep it simple. I'll just will repeat that. Just for I'm gonna throw it out there. I did back testing is why I went with simple. No, I just but that doesn't
so
mean you have to. But you said it, coach. It has to be consistent. It can't vary. You pick a side.
markets,
And welcome back, Scott Vaughn.
just
Good to
welcome
hear it.
back. Welcome. Warvo Tone says, "Do you think that 3 minute strat could see a losing streak if we're talking a 1 minute break and close with a 1.5 risk to reward? The stats look pretty good, but last couple of days was not working." Um, the way I really look at that, and here we go. Uh, looking at that trade, could it see a losing streak? 100%, right? Could we have weeks of consolidation where we don't have a trending market? And then we stay in the opening range and we get more false breakouts. 100%. Um, in this case, we had it. If I'm looking at a 3 minute opening range, I'm not going to go down to a 1 minute chart and say, well, the 1 minute candle closed outside. Let me take the trade. It has to close outside on a 3 minute, right? Same time frame that I'm taking the trade, right? Same way if we're looking at confirmation on a 30 minute chart, I'm not going to personally, I'm not going to use a 30 minute range and then see a 1 minute candle close outside of it and say, yeah, that's confirmation. It could be the start of it, but I want confirmation on the same time frame we took it. In this case, yeah, I got stopped out here, right? 59.18. I think I bought it. Two ATRs, we got stopped out. Um, but uh, I think when the setup presents itself, it's fine to take it, right? We could see it here. We honestly, we should have just got right back in the trade, and that was the trend for the day, based on that setup. Um, any
And you know
any other
what,
markets,
coach,
coach?
real
Yep, go
quickly
ahead.
on that volatility in the 3 minute,
Yeah.
and that's another function of triple witching.
Mm,
So um still a good trade. Got stopped out. If you get stopped out once, can you do it again? Yeah, if you manage your risk well and you manage your budget. But like I said, expect to move 100 points. I want to tell you this, not out of the question considering what happened earlier in the week.
right. Right.
But to expect that, that's a different story.
Expectation to
Um,
have.
yeah. So big day.
All right, let's go through a couple more markets here. I'll let you pick, coach. What are we going to next?
Gold, because I haven't looked at it all day.
Gold, gold, gold. All right. I know last night I was looking at a short in gold with Coach Vince. Kind of glad I didn't take it because it didn't really present a good trade. Looking at last night's open in
Boy,
gold here,
tiny.
tiny range, volume left the range and never really looked back. Um, I was kind of going with the idea of a short on gold because of the higher time frame trend kind of being towards the downside right now. But what's that white line?
Mm. And it just kind of ended right there, didn't it? Right to it. Kind of looks like the S&P. Um, but is this a good place to sell? Oh. When's the last time we were at the 200 moving average in the half hour?
December 12th.
So good 10 days, right? Um, it's still sloping down. Now, my feeling is if this is it could go sideways from here and rally, but we'll see. If it's owned, it'll go sideways. If this was a buying rally or a short covering rally, we don't know. We can define that um, early next week. Wow, what a buy! I'm glad I wasn't short.
Yeah, me too. We even talked about it during the show, right? Because I had some levels up here, 2640, maybe looking to go short where we had this rejection before. But once we closed over this candle, that inverted hammer, we just kind of kept going. I threw that trade idea out, which I was happy to.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it as an idea. So, and not even to put that off, it's an idea. Show me some reasons why I should get short. Even if you got short early, VWAP never left the range. Take a small loss is the best loss, right? Um, and end that idea right there.
We
All
got
right.
my biggest fan is in the chat, Silver Bullet Dodger. Uh, Send me on Discord. I will show you my daily P&L. If your daily P&L looked green, congratulations. Great stuff. Getting a little weird every message that you send, but thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button also. Uh, but let's take it easy. Anything else you want to go through here, coach?
Excuse me. Um, no, I'm good. Let's look at the. Should we go to natural gas?
Net guess.
Wow.
Rallying.
Well, let's see from last night's opening, which we had some selling. Um,
We go. We did have some selling.
uh,
Yeah. Good.
but look, what didn't leave the range?
Never did.
No. And on the daily, on mine, the low, the exact low was the 200-day moving average, and that was in a non-continuous chart versus a continuous. Just trust me, it went to the tick. Um, Interestingly, we opened on the U.S. right down to the daily 200, and look what happened. We never left the range in VWAP. Those sellers ignited this. That was a big rally. Um, so I matured as a trader. I have it open as a swing. Just like, okay, I had to stop. I had to put it a little farther away than usual because I'm swinging this trade, 4 ATRs, and I was really comfortable. Like, okay, um, so let's look at the daily.
Daily.
Yeah, wow, what a week. Um, this is the highest close since what, September,
October. October.
October, and we closed above it. We're above that trend line from the top. This has it's got some legs. Still want to be buying dips in a natural gas. Our perennial percentage mover. That's all I got there, Coach.
Think that's it, really. Only other thing I want to talk about, we had micro Bitcoin. We were talking about taking a short last night. Did end up playing out pretty nicely. We had the 30-minute opening range here. Uh, Idea for this trade was volume left the range. It wasn't as convincing, but we got short somewhere near the lows of that range around VWAP. Talked about adding to the trade if we got to around 50%. Exactly what we did. Risk was always going to be make new highs of the day. We can see we didn't do it, and a really nice trade that played out there. So just to close that one, and Coach Hoop talking about the meats. Um, they have been great
The
trades.
cattle and the pigs.
They
But
have been great trades. Look at this lean hogs chart on a 30-minute, just straight up. It starts off as a joke, and then there's validity there in this trade. The money is green if you catch this trend, either way. So, Coach Hoop, shout out to you sticking to your guns. Where sometimes you don't need to trade the popular stuff to make money.
actually, sometimes it's easier. Um, Actually, I think it is easier. Great job, Coach. Who, by the way, that cattle on the daily hit the 200-day moving average on the low and then popped.
In the daily.
Yeah, on a
Oh,
continuous chart. Oh,
gotcha,
there it
gotcha.
is. Mm. After that, and it's had a big break. So short covering or buying, I don't know. It's buying. It was quite a call, and I love the way Coach Hope. Coach Hope. It's
Coach,
Friday.
it is.
Coach Hoop stood up for himself out there. You, what was it? I don't. You think I'm joking?
Yeah,
I
I
think
saw
those were
that.
your words in the chat. But great job. Um,
He said just trade it.
just traded.
All right, let's get out of here. We're going into the weekend. We got one
Uh,
more question here. Coaches, would you please elaborate on stop loss placement in a volatile day like today? Let's answer that one. Then we will wrap it up. Coach, how do you set your stop losses on a day like today where you could be right about the direction, but the markets are so volatile that it might stop you out before you get there?
okay, good question. Average true range. Now, average true range this week is tripled. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you. I'll just use the S&P as an example. I'm looking at what date is this? Um,
Looking at the S&Ps, you said?
S&Ps. I'm going to just use the example. S&Ps on December 4th. Even better, before the number, the 16th. The average true range for the S&P half hour was basically 6 points at the busiest time of the day. 6. Today, it ended at 20, just about 25. 4 times the average range since before the number. So when it's really the part of risk management is about position sizing. Without changing if you were trading a one lot and a mini, and I'm just using half an hour as an example, your risk quadrupled. So if you were used to doing a one lot on a risk basis, it's a four lot.
Makes sense. Scale down.
Scale down. If you're too cool I don't do micros. Okay, well, maybe then you have to be really right. And if you're
Right.
executing a strategy and you frame that out and you're executing a strategy, which is a good thing to do, risk it went 4 times. You can get lucky and just get the buys or the sells right on time, but you were on the right side of luck. There's the other side of luck. And how many people blew out this week? Isn't a factor, or you might not be a bad trader, but if you didn't adjust your size, that's the thing you're probably missing. So to put it in terms, at 4 times, you should basically be doing 2 micros if you were doing a mini.
That's
And now you're at the same risk level. It's extremely important. Understand it. Great question. That's how you adjust because you don't know when it's come, but you can adjust your size. You maybe not adjust your strategy. You probably don't want to do that, but you surely can adjust your size or your risk. All right, great question.
sir. We've been talking about that, kind of all week as that volatility increased. FOMC day, hey, maybe the time to trade micros. I had a one lot micro on in the Nasdaq trade during fast markets, and that one lot made $500. Um, and I was late to the trade.
There
Right,
you go.
I got in here after we'd already moved up 300 points. Now, do all days look like this? They don't, but there's still some room in a move like this, and you can make a lot of money. $500 a day, and we don't want to do the trader math and extrapolate, but it's better than some salaries out there. I'll say that much. Um, and you know, we have to put the risk behind it, but you can make a lot of money trading micros, and that's with a one lot. You can trade multiple. I got nothing else, Coach. Been a
All
great
right,
week.
man.
Last full trading week of the year. Next week, going into the holidays and things like that. Just want to say happy holidays to everyone, whichever one you do celebrate. If we don't see you next week, I understand. Might be time with families and things like that. I will be spending time with some family also. But Top Step is part of my family as well. So uh, I think I will be on the show. We'll think about, if we run at the buzzer through the week or not. But if we don't see you, I just want to say happy holidays. Enjoy some time off the charts. If you haven't watched Jerome's segment today on Topstep TV, I would definitely take a look at that at some point. He talked a lot about psychology. We kind of just ISO'd and let him go. But some great stuff he talked about. and a lot of stuff off the charts, right? Some of the comments and things like that that we get in the chat. Think about the type of person you are and the type of energy that you're bringing when you're sharing certain comments, good or bad, right? Just think about that. But enjoy time with your families, with yourself, off the charts this weekend, and have a great weekend. What about you, Coach?
And the holidays, family and friends, um, are more important than looking at a chart or money. You know, uh, there's times to rest and enjoy life. This next 2 weeks is that time. Um, so happy holidays. Have a great weekend. Enjoy life. And one last thing, Coach, it's this last year has been a pleasure working with you. You can teach an old dog new tricks, and I'm witness of that.
I appreciate working with you. Learn a lot all the time. I was sitting in Coach before I got pulled on to finish out the daytime show. I was actually just sitting in Coach Paul's VIP room, not coaching, just as a student, just kind of listening in. So I learned a ton from you as well, Coach, about the patience and discipline it requires to be successful at this. So I appreciate working with you as well, and with all of you, and always Andrew as well in the background, sending us all of your questions. Thank you to Andrew as well. I think that's it. I think that's it. Let's get out of here. Everybody enjoy your weekends. We will talk to you all next week. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye. Oh, the
Bye.
Hayes Records
Oh,
celebrating my 28th birthday today. Happy birthday.
happy birthday uh,
Happy
to
birthday.
you.
It's my nephew's birthday today. I got to go call him after this.
There you go.
Have a good
So
one, everybody.
have a good one.